Hey guys, what's up? It's Chad with Overland Addict here, and today I wanted to talk about the 12-volt system for the rear of my Ram 1500 canopy camper that I put into a Milwaukee Packout system. So I'm starting to build out the Ram 1500 to take out on trips. So I got the Dirtbox Overland canopy camper stuck on the back of the truck, and of course I need some 12-volt power back here. And definitely don't want to run everything off the main battery on the truck, so decided to do a dual battery install. So started thinking about, different ways to do a dual battery. There's a traditional way of, hard mounting the battery into the rear of the vehicle in a certain location and wiring everything up. But I started thinking it would be kind of cool to make it modular for one. So for example, if you wanted to take the inverter off of the system and didn't need it for a trip, you could do that and save some space. Also portability, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to be able to take the dual battery system completely out of the truck and move it closer to a camp table or something like that, and even remove the whole system when you weren't on a trip. So that got me thinking about how to do that. I've seen people build these into, different types of storage boxes, wolf packs, things like that. I recently kind of started geeking out on the Milwaukee Packout stuff. I'm kind of late to the game. I know a lot of people out there have already been using those for quite some time, but started really getting into those and enjoying those. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to build one of these 12-volt systems into a Milwaukee Packout setup. So that's what I've done. So we're going to go over the setup, everything I put into this setup, and talk about some of the features in it, what I might do differently if I did it again. And these are also, I'm going to start building these out for customers here in our shop. So if you're interested in a 12-volt system, dual battery system for your vehicle that is in Milwaukee Packouts, then keep an eye on our website. We're going to be putting these up for sale soon. You'll be able to customize them with the type of battery, the battery capacity, the outlets that you want, so on and so forth. So anyway, let's get into this build and I'll show you exactly what I did here. All right, so I've got the Milwaukee Packout 12-volt system removed from the truck bed to show you guys and do a little detailed walk around here. But you can see this is the heart of the system here. So you've got the battery in this box along with all of the fusing, circuit breakers, different outlets, inputs and outputs, all contained in this main box here. And then you've got the inverter over in the other box. And I'll talk about how they connect together in just a second. But this is the heart of the system. So this is all I really need in the back of my vehicle to power everything. I do have a third box, and I'll grab that real quick. It is my air compressor. So I've got an ARB twin compressor in that box. And again, the reason I love this Packout stuff is because it just locks in so quickly. So I can lock everything together, and when I don't need a component like my air compressor, if I'm not going on a trip where I'm going to air down, or this is nice because this is in a portable box, now I can remove this from the system in the bed, take it to a buddy's vehicle and let him air up his tires. So I just love the way this Milwaukee Packout stuff quick connects and disconnects from everything. It's one of the main features and the reason I got this system. So now let's talk about each individual component here, and I'll go into it in detail on how I built it out and what I built into it. All right, so now let's dig into the main battery box here. Again, this is really part of the heart of the system. Really, it is the heart of the system because it's what powers everything, 12-volt wise anyway. So this is a extra large Packout toolbox, and I chose it because it was the size that everything would fit into minus the inverter. So it would fit my battery, had all the room in it for the fuses, the circuit breakers, and still had room on the outside to put outlets that I needed. So let's talk about the internals of this. This has a Red Arc Alpha 150 amp hour LiFePro 4 battery in it. The battery is really nice. It's got built-in Bluetooth, so you can see all the amps in and out. You can monitor the health of the battery. You don't need an extra shunt or anything like that. It's all built into the battery, and it does a lot more than I'm actually using it for, but it does provide 150 amp hours instead of 100 amp hours like some of the other batteries. So let's talk about the inputs. So over here on this side is where I did all the inputs for the box. Okay, so we've got our solar input on the top, and we've got our vehicle input on the bottom. So this also has a RedArc 1250 DC-DC battery charger, DC to DC charger in it. So I'll show inside of this in just a second and show you all the components. But that's what this is for. So I've got a heavy gauge wire ran from the front of my truck's engine bay from the battery there back to the bed. It plugs into here. That's how I keep this battery charged up in the box. And then, of course, like I said, we've got solar input. I've got a portable solar panel that I use when I'm out camping. We'll soon be doing some permanent solar on top of the dirt box canopy camper, so that will also be where this plugs in. And the RedArc battery charger manages all that for me. This you see here is a high amperage connection, quick disconnect for the inverter. This is a connector from Amphenol Sign. That's the company that makes this. It's made for like EVs, but it works very nicely in here. And then the other side of this is on the inverter box. I'll show you in a second. So that's the inputs side of the box. Let me turn this around here. This is the output side of everything. So you can see here, I've got a little panel from Blue Sea Systems. It keeps all my outputs very nicely organized. But I've got several USB connections here. Got two cigarette style ports. And then this one over here is an Anderson power pole, a dual power pole connection. So this is good for higher amperage stuff, diesel heaters, that sort of thing. So that's this panel up here at the top. And they've all got dust covers on them. This is all I'm sorry, I said Blue Sea. This is not Blue Sea. This is from a company called PowerWorks. My bad. PowerWorks is a great company. Check them out. PowerWorks, spelled W-E-R-X, powerworks.com. Great stuff here. All have dust covers and everything on them, so great little panel there. This is two Anderson SB50 connections. Again, high output connections here. So you could use this for diesel heaters. I use this for running my air compressor. So when I hook up the ARB twin compressor, I run it to one of these ports, and I've got all that fused inside of here with some high amperage fuses. These are just dust covers that you can keep in place when you're not using them, just to keep dust out of there. I eventually might connect these lanyards to something. They're made to connect to something, so when you take them off, you don't lose them. They just hang. Anyway, that's the output side of the box. I may do a few other connections down here. I have some Deutsch connections that I think I may do just to give a different style of connection. I have a few adapters that I have that are Deutsch connectors, so I may do that at a later point. Okay, so now let me flip this around and we will show you the internals of this box. And I also wanted to point out, I've got these nice little labels that I got on Etsy from an Etsy store. Can't recall the name of it. I think it's Danger Digital or something like that. I'll leave a link in the comments of the video, but that guy was really great to work with, and he makes these nice labels for the Milwaukee Packouts. So let's take a look inside. All right, so here we are looking inside the battery box. You can see right in the middle is the RedArc Alpha 150 amp hour battery that powers the entire system, and all around the perimeter of that are devices that support the 12-volt system. So you've got at top left there the RedArc BCDC dual battery charger. That is a 50 amp charger, and that handles the solar input, like I said earlier, and also the vehicle input to charge this RedArc battery. Top right, you've got the fuse block for all of the DC outputs that I've got installed and mounted on the right side of the battery box. Okay, and right under the fuse block, you can see on the right side of the battery, you've got a circuit breaker that is tied, as you can see, to the Blue Sea MRBF bus bar there. That's for all really high output connections. So those are tied to the Anderson SB50 connections that I've got on there, and then any other high output stuff we do in the future, like if I end up doing Deutsch connections or anything like that, that'll probably serve those as well. Moving on around to the 6 o'clock position, you can see a fuse holder there. That is going to the inverter, so that serves as the inverter's fuse. And then on around to the left at the 9 o'clock position, that is the fuse for the RedArc DC-DC charger. All right, so that's the battery box. Now let's check out the inverter. All right, so here's our inverter box. This one is built into a large toolbox from Milwaukee. And this one has the handle on the top. Does make it a little easier to carry around than that other big extra large toolbox. That one's pretty heavy and it's got the two handles on the side. But this one, pretty lightweight, and it's got the handle on the top. Each box I chose, I tried to get the smallest one possible that would fit the components that I needed in order to save space. So this was the one that the inverter fit in. So let's look at the outside real quick. So we've got the inverter power switch here. This is, again, a red arc inverter inside of here. 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. And I got the remote switch so I can turn it on and off from the outside here. You just press the button and a little light comes on that shows you that it's on. Over on the other side here, this is your input from the battery box. And I've also installed a vent in here to allow airflow so I can run this with the top closed. I don't, if I've got things stacked up, I don't have to take something off and open the lid to run it. So I've got ventilation in here, and I'll show you the cable. Here's the cable, if you didn't see it in the B-roll, that I use to hook the battery box and the inverter together. I've got these, again, these Amphenol sine connectors that connect, quick connect. You just stick them in, you push this down, and it sucks it into the receiving end of the connection, the female end. Really nice connectors, very heavy. They are a little expensive. I think they were 50 bucks a piece. Can't recall at the moment. I'll leave all the links down there in the description. But anyways, this is how you connect the two together. So that is that. And then on the other side, I don't think there's anything on the other side, right? No, just okay, so there is. It's been a while since I built this stuff, I forgot. Okay, so the other side of the vent to allow airflow all the way through. And then this is my weatherproof plug that I've got to plug anything 110 volt into here. And the way I've got my setup in the camper, I've got an extension that goes from here, and I've got some other outlets, 110 outlets and USB all built into one. Maybe I'll put it in over the video here, but I got it off Amazon. It fits perfectly on the Molly box in the camper that I've got. So it's an extension, so I can easily plug things in without having to go all the way to the front of the bed and plug stuff in with this. So, but that's that. Okay, so now let's open it up and we'll look inside. All right, so let's open this guy up here. So there is the Red Arc 2000 watt inverter that I installed in here. Try to get an angle over here. You can see here's the back side of that input connection from the battery. Give you a close up on that so you can kind of see what those look like. And I've got my remote switch wire down there, kind of just bundled up nicely. Let me spin this around here. Here's the other side of the other vent, and then the back end of the 110 plug I've got there. And if you'll notice, try to get in here where you can see it. I'm not sure I'll be able to get the right angle. The inverter comes with two plugs. I'm just using one of them to run to here. So I do have an extra outlet in here I could use. Maybe I'll eventually run this to a second connection on the outside, but the way I'm using it, I run an extension from here to a panel that has multiple plugs on it, so really no reason for me to do that. So this one's pretty simple. That's just all there is to it in the inverter box. All right, so now I'll connect these two together and show you how they work. All right, so we got our battery box, put our inverter on top. And again, man, one of the reasons I love these Packouts, this locks right in there. So satisfying to hear that lock sound. So once they're locked in like that, I simply take the cable here and I connect one end down here. And you push it in until it stops, and then you push the lever, and that sucks the connection in the rest of the way, and it's got a lock on there. It's kind of a detent, so it can't come out. Same thing on the top. So now they're connected together, and I've got power to my inverter, so now all I do, press the button, and now the inverter's active. All right, let's talk about the last box in my system. Not really part of the 12-volt system necessarily, but it does run off 12 volts, and I built it into a Packout as well, and that's my ARB twin air compressor. So this is the, I can't remember which Packout this is. I'll put it on the screen here. I think it's the small toolbox, or maybe it's just called toolbox. I think it's just called the toolbox. From Milwaukee Packout. So the compressor just barely fits in here, but it does fit. So let's talk about this box again. Nice label so we know what's inside. Put an air vent in here for the fan because it does get quite hot in there. We'll open it up here. All right, so let's take a look in here. So there is our compressor box. You can see the ARB compressor tucked nicely in here. Got stainless steel braided hose for the air running along here. I've even got room inside of here to store my air hose and my power cable. So this is the power cable I use, again, Anderson SB50, that plugs into this side over here and then down into my battery box. So let me take this stuff out of here so you can get a better view of what's in here. Here is the back side of the connections. This is the switch, turn it on. This is the power in for the compressor, and this is the back of the airline. So let's move over here, spin this around, and I'll show you the connection side and the switch side. So here is the side with the switch. So I've got my ARB switch. I've got my input. It's a nice protected cover from a company called Trailer Vision. Love those guys. They make a lot of nice Anderson SB50 connections to make the connection secure and also to make it weatherproof. And then this is your air chuck right here. So this is the standard ARB air chuck that I've got. So that is the switch and connection side of the box. Okay, so here it is again, all stacked up the way I run it in my truck typically. But again, one of the big selling features of this Packout stuff is its modularity and the way it all locks together. So for instance, if I wanted to run the air compressor without the inverter, I don't need the inverter when I run the compressor because the compressor is 12 volts and the inverter is 110. So for example, I could take this inverter out of the equation completely. Just remove it from the whole system here because it's quick release with the Packout stuff. I'll set it aside over here. Lock the compressor on the top of the battery box. And now, get my power cable out here. And again, because this whole system is portable, it doesn't need to be in the truck to use it. I can move it out of the truck just like this. Plug my connection in over here. So let me go around here so you can see what I'm doing here. Plug the SB50 into the compressor. Plug the connection down here in the bottom. You can see now we've got lights on the switch and we're active. So really cool, man. Really cool. I love the way this system turned out. I love the modularity. Cable's a little long, you can see here, but that's because I've usually got it stacked on top of my inverter. All right, so that's my 12-volt system that I built into Milwaukee Packouts. If you guys have any questions about this, just leave a comment below. If you're interested in one of these, like I said, keep an eye on our website, sign up for our email list, and we'll announce when these are ready for order on our website. And of course, do all those YouTube things, like and subscribe, click the bell so you get notified about new videos that we have. We'll see you guys on the next one.